Hello and welcome to another episode of TapCaf Transmissions. I'm one of your hosts, Mr. Corey. I don't usually call myself Mr. I don't like that very much, but
Mr. Corey.
joining me as always is
Yuck.
I, no, stop interrupting me. We've talked about this.
I just don't like you anymore.
Okay, well, understandable, because my co-host is not just Mr. Justin or Mr. Eckhart Slatter. He's the newest member of the YouTube Millionaires Club. I think that's what that means, right? You have 1 million subs, so you get $1 million.
Yeah, they send you $1 million.
That's amazing. Congratulations. I'm coming to your house for dinner tomorrow.
No, you're not. You don't have the net worth.
Oh, I see how it is. This is the final episode, is it?
Yeah.
It's over. This is
You're
it.
lucky. You're lucky you got me for this one.
When I get my silver play button, am I allowed to talk to you again? It's like a band of one, like ranked match.
You can talk to me, but I can't talk back. It's not even my rule, is the crazy thing.
Well, after Susan left, there were some weird rules put in with YouTube.
Yeah.
But I guess in our final episode of it's not the final. People will believe me. It's not the final episode. Everybody say congratulations, Justin. Ellipses. Wow, that's cool! Exclamation mark! Exclamation mark!
Great job.
Mark. Yeah, that too.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so we got two big topics to talk about today. We have, on the good side, an episode of The Bad Batch that I really enjoyed.
Yep, good episode.
And on the bad side, there have been
a bad episode of The Good Batch.
Huh. Funny how that happens. Well, there's
batch
been
of bad news.
A good batch of fucking video games that never are going to come out. But do we want to start in the bad side with this, and then people who want to listen to that?
Yeah, I think we start with the news. Yeah.
So I know you're going to be hot under the collar for this. So get us started, Justin.
I mean, I'm not even hot under the collar because I can't.
I've already put out my video.
Yeah, no, I can't act like I'm surprised, or I'm just disappointed. So the big, for one, this is not just an EA thing, but there have been massive video game layoffs across the industry this year. Microsoft laid off almost 2,000 people. EA today laid off several hundred. Sony laid off several hundred.
Riot
Riot. Even like the gaming connected companies like Twitch and Discord have been laying off people. So as I mentioned, EA was one of them today. They put out a little, honestly, kind of a pissy statement where they were like, "Yep, we're gonna focus more on stuff we own. We don't really want to work with play with other people's toys anymore." And there was rumors that the Respawn team behind the new upcoming Star Wars game, we didn't officially know what it was, but we'd heard that it was a Star Wars FPS, and last week we'd heard that it was a Mandalorian game, not a game for the Mandalorian, but a Mandalorian bounty hunter. And then today on IGN, it's been confirmed that the game itself is actually canceled, and the team has apparently been thrown to the wind to work on other projects.
Yeah, there was 5% of EA's staff had been laid off, and then the team within Respawn that was doing that has now been shuffled around. Which, yeah, like it's been an industry-wide problem for years now, but especially last year and even this year, there's been, I think this year might already have last year beat in layoffs. And yeah, it's like the Embracer's another company that we hear, or we talk a lot about on the podcast as well, because they're the most relevant one to the whole KOTOR remake discussion. But like they bought so many companies over the last 5 to 10 years, and now they're shutting a lot of them because they didn't get some of the venture capital that they were expecting. So it's just a bunch of centralization in the industry under the same 3 companies that then decide, actually, we don't want this. We're going to just close the companies, and it's not our fault. It's actually like the Embracer statement particularly pissed me off, because like, oh, these companies weren't going to make money. It's like the EA one is annoying in its own ways, but like the whole industry is a fucking trash fire and disgusting.
Yeah, what's strange is it doesn't seem like video game sales as a whole are down significantly.
They're not.
So like I do kind of wonder whether like I don't I'm not an expert in the video game industry. I noticed, by the way, Victor Lucas is looking for podcasts to go on. So maybe we should have him on at some point to talk Star Wars video games on
Yeah.
ours. But like, I wonder whether the issue is people saw like game spending during the pandemic go up, like in the latter half of the pandemic when people were still inside but had maybe a bit more entertainment money go up, so they planned for a future where that growth continued, or just overall growth was slow. For EA, like it seems pretty obvious that like EA has a few cash cows, like the sports games are definitely one of them, and they talk about focusing um, on the like they want capitalism. It's always going to be continual growth. So
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
don't
like
know.
the oh fuck, I forgot something you said, but yeah, so yeah, it's the exact same thing as with streaming, where we're seeing
Mhm.
a lot of the streaming platforms kind of reduce what they've been doing in COVID, and now like even Star Wars, it seems to be going more towards the movie direction again.
Mhm.
And because like once the currently streaming Star Wars shows are done, there doesn't seem to be as much will to start new ones. And like we've already seen the Mandalorian go from TV to movies now, or to a movie. So it seems to be kind of the same category there.
Yeah, yeah. I and there's no obvious answer. Like there's really not. It's just the EA one is just so surprising to me because I get it's not the Mandalorian, but I still think like the idea of a Mandalorian facing a game, or being the star of a game, would be pretty popular and pretty I don't know, I just think that's got a lot of clout associated with it. I think EA, from what I understand, Jedi Survivor and Jedi Fallen Order sold extraordinarily well. Respawn has a history of success, so to me, this is just a very strange game to cut.
Yeah.
Obviously, knowing we only know a little bit about what's actually going on, but I mean, it's just very surprising.
Yeah, like my hope with Respawn taking over the publishing side for EA of Star Wars titles was that like they'd have that focus team doing it, and
Mhm.
now I'm kind of wondering what's going to go on with BitReactor
Yeah,
too,
that's what I
because
was going to bring up.
BitReactor isn't owned by them, but with like Respawn doing the publishing side of that, they could also choose to drop that, and then not only is the game dead, the studio
Mhm.
is kind of fucked. Like the the consumer side of it, as like someone who wants to play these games, is annoying, of course, but like the the industry as a whole, the biggest impact is of course on the people who work in that, who are
Mhm.
regularly put out of jobs now and scrambling for money and work because they have to live. And
Yeah,
of course
alongside
them
the other like
having
10,000 people in the industry looking for jobs.
yeah, like the them having to live is an inconvenience to these companies because they have to pay them to do the work, so they'd rather just get whatever easiest properties they can churn out for the most money in the short term that they've already got established. They don't have to pay the licensing fees to Disney. That helps.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, for sure. That's kind of what I'm left wondering. Like, does Disney have some sort of like profit sharing agreement or something that like makes them just really unfun to work with? I don't know.
well,
Like,
I think it's true with any property where like you're paying a fee to license it, and then does the fee to license it recoup more than what you'd get for just doing a different
yeah,
game that has the same, like it's like if no one else is making a Star Wars game, you don't have to compete with the Star Wars game anyway. So it's
yeah,
only really a problem if they're making a Star Wars game and you're not. But if no one's releasing a Star Wars game that isn't just a remaster of a game we had 20 years ago, then for fucking $50, then yeah.
it's just I'm surprised to see Star Wars games go the way of the Star Wars streaming show. Like, I tweeted this out, but I like some of these are going back, like 1313. Obviously, that was canceled at the. I think that was kind of the beginning. They decided to scrap that um, after the buyout. But the KOTOR remake, I don't believe that's happening. Star Wars Ragtag has been outright canceled. Um, Star Wars Eclipse, who knows? You know, Star Wars Battlefront has been killed essentially.
Mhm.
There's no future for Star Wars Squadrons. It's just it just stinks.
Yeah, like there would be the hope that like Lucasfilm Games as a publisher spinning back up would have some more
Yeah,
safety on the publisher side, but then you still need development studios that are going to be able to
yeah,
do
of
it.
course.
And like you can point to the closure of LucasArts with the buyout as like a mistake, but I think a lot of people overlook the fact that LucasArts was not doing well for 6 years prior to that. There were so many cancellations of games that happened before then, where 1313 seems to be the one that like
Yeah,
was actually going somewhere, and then that got closed after the buyout. But there was like the original Battlefront 3 stuff, KOTOR 3, Republic Commando 2. Like there were so many games that we knew were in production at that time as well, which were in house and then closed because LucasArts was really bad. And I think some of that badness was evident in some of the games that came out that people think are good. So
I think you're right, but if we look at what Star Wars is like now versus what Star Wars was like in the 2010s, people aren't going to want to hear this, but Star Wars is in a much healthier spot now than it was then. Um, and
you
like,
mean
if you,
gaming or as a whole?
I think as a whole, Star Wars is more popular now than it was in the 2010s
Yeah.
after the prequels were released. Would you agree or disagree with that?
I think there's like the very short burst of like around Revenge of the Sith where you had all of this stuff that was releasing like games, books, comics, where that's
Yeah,
like the
I'm talking
highest
more like
density. But
2010
yeah,
to 20.
yeah,
Yeah.
2010 to 2012 was not
Yeah.
particularly good either.
Like if you look at what Lucas Arts and what other publishers did for Star Wars when Star Wars was hot in the prequels, they must have released in 3 years, or 4 years. They must have really since '99. They must have released 3 dozen games, almost 2 dozen games. Um, and over the sequel period, we got very little. And now, like I can't imagine there being something as popular as The Mandalorian in the LucasArts era and us not getting a game about it. Like
Yeah,
that's
but I
to
think
me.
in the 2010s, part of it is like the just the way that play habits were, where
Mhm.
people meme on the whole, oh, there's no demand for single player experiences. But at the time, like people are even more so than now investing a lot of their time in one game. So a
Mhm.
lot of the live service multiplayer games were really big at that point. And that's where like League got really big and those kinds of games. So
Yeah.
there was an extent to which it was just a lot more difficult to get out these like this is the game for this property for this release that you'd kind of expect because there's the inflation of the cost to make games which hasn't been kept up with by the cost to buy a game, but the number of people buying a game do offset it more. So
Mhm.
it's not true for them that it's like, oh, we just don't make any money for them when it's a AAA studio that's going to sell a lot of copies. Sure, for like double A maybe, but yeah, it's not an excuse anymore. Like that period isn't
No, like
quite in the same place.
you look at these like these hyper expensive single player games like Elden Ring, which have no extra monetization attached to it besides for an upcoming DLC. That's a pretty extreme example because FromSoft does its own thing, but like it's there's been like the single player gaming resurgence. We've
Yeah.
on like the PlayStation side, we have games like the Horizon series or the God of War series. It's like every day it feels like there's a new story driven game that people are flocking to. um like The Mandalorian to me is like the biggest missed opportunity because it's like Baby Yoda and The Mandalorian as a show is one of the cultural phenomenons of the 2020s, I would say. And like
Like, look at
everyone
how
knows who Baby
fast some of
Yoda
those
is.
older games were able to be turned around compared to what it would take now.
Mhm.
Like, the Battlefront 2 came out very shortly after Battlefront 1, and,
Yeah,
like, the resources that went into it wouldn't be acceptable today if
yeah,
people got that same kind of product. Like,
no,
the campaign in Battlefront 2, like, you would not be able to put that out today and have people say that it
no, for
was, like,
sure.
a game that they would respect.
Yeah, no, you're right.
So like it's more difficult from that perspective, but like they keep starting these things and then shutting them, and it's that can't be cheap.
No, it can't be. It's like some opportunity cost on a pretty high level to
Yeah,
ditch a game that's been apparently been they started some work on in 2019. So you
yeah.
know I don't know how far in development they are, but certainly there's something going on.
Yeah, like we've known about it for like what 2 years now that they did the announcement of Respawn working on the
Yeah,
FPS split reactor.
yeah.
And that it's also about 2 years since we've had the announcement that the exclusivity was over, right? Because that was
Mhm.
January 2022.
Mhm. Yeah,
I
it's
might be
just
off
we
on a
got to
year.
counter lucky stars that Outcast made it, I guess.
Oh, no, Jedi Outcast
Or
or
not Outcast.
Outlaws.
It's the fucking game that's coming out.
Outlaws.
Outlaws. Yeah, Outlaws.
Yeah, I mean they have the benefit there of like doing Frontiers of Pandora and Star Wars Outlaws on that, so it would have been a much more difficult thing to shut for Ubisoft. They're not in the best position either. Now that
Speaking of
quadruple
Ubisoft,
A,
it's like, yeah. How did they manage to turn out a fucking new Assassin's Creed game every 2 years and we can't get a Star Wars game? Like
well, once you got the Assassin's Creed Industrial Complex up, you're just gonna reskin that into Star Wars. I
in
mean,
this game, he's gonna have knives behind his armpits. It's much different.
they just take Black Flag and reskin it into Star Wars. So
Did
you're
you play
flying the
Black
Millennium
Flag?
Falcon, and it's like
That game was so sick.
I only ever played the first Assassin's Creed, I think.
You gotta play Black Flag if you like
Yeah.
pirate games, which
I've
is
only
weird.
heard good things.
Yeah,
Like
that's
the
great.
sailing was great, and then all I'm hearing now is that Skull and Bones is not matching up to that.
No, no, definitely not.
All right. Well, any you've
Well, I mean,
played
there's
the
other
Dark
Star
Souls
Wars gaming
remaster as
news.
well?
Yeah, so we got the Battlefront 2 re-release coming. Did we discuss that last episode?
We did a bit last episode, yeah.
Okay. And the other big one is the Dark Forces re-release came out. I've played a bit. Have you?
I have not.
So I've played through the first 2 levels.
I didn't realize it was coming out today, and I've been doing house stuff after doing work. So,
yeah, I'm surprised you still aren't you moving tomorrow? How come you still got your stuff up in your office?
so we get the house tomorrow, and then our movers are on the 12th of March. So,
Oh, so
like, if you look behind here, that there's nothing else. Like,
so are your
we're all
movers
packed up
doing
now.
everything?
So for the next 2 weeks, we're going to be doing like a backpack and bag load every day, and
Yeah.
then they're coming getting the furniture. My sister's coming up next weekend, and we're doing like my computer at that point because I don't want to leave that for movers, and I don't want to walk that
No,
to my place. But
no.
yeah, they're doing most of it. Have you looked into movers?
Yeah. So for me, our new house is less than a kilometer away from our current
Yeah,
one, and we have a van. So I'm going to try to move as much of the like little things as I
yeah,
can, and then I want to get like an inventory of all the furniture. So like my
yeah.
desk, my thing behind me, like our chairs or whatever. We also got to figure out like we're not going to take our new couch with us because we want to upgrade that anyway. So once I can get like a full, probably this week I'll get a
We want
full.
to upgrade our new couch.
No, sorry, we're going to upgrade our current couch to a new
Okay.
couch.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
$1 million is
not
already
until
being
my
burned through.
not until my millionaire's check comes through. But yeah, I got one quote where I just like checked every box and it was like $2,200.
Yeah,
But,
I can.
but I won't be spending that much.
It even though it's not a long distance, like it's worth it.
Yeah, oh yeah, totally. I'm not moving furniture. Plus, like I literally just spent a day taking my son's bed down and building a new one, and like I just
Yeah.
can't. I don't have it in me to take it apart again.
Yeah, like I would say, so we're taking apart all of our furniture. They'll do it if you leave it for them to do, but then it takes longer. And I want this to be as cheap as possible. Like for us, there's the added thing of like we don't have licenses, so renting a truck and then renting a driver, I guess,
Yeah.
is difficult. But
Yeah,
the
that
easier
would
you
be.
can make it for them, the better it is. But you know,
So for me, all I've got left to do is we got to prove for our mortgage. We went with a variable rate. What did you go with?
we went fixed 3 year.
Oh, did I lose you?
I'm here. Can you hear me? Are you dead? Uh-oh.
Sorry, I cut you off. Sorry, you got cut off for a minute there. What did you say?
Okay, no. We went with fixed 3 year term.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So you probably have a better rate than me. Not a big deal. So we got that done. The only, like, literally the only thing we have left until I can start selling furniture and stuff and not have to worry about it is we got to get our home inspection on this place done, which there will be issues, but there's no inventory, so it's like, okay, there's $10,000 worth of issues. Do you think you can get a better house? Because I haven't seen a house this good in 6 months.
Yeah.
So hopefully negotiate if there is. And then there's a date for the financing for the buyer, but I creeped the buyer and they're loaded. So should be good. At least based on their job title, they're loaded, so it should be good.
YouTube.
Bum fights corner. Oh god.
Star Wars game developer. Oh.
Yeah.
But yeah, thanks everyone for listening. And
hired but not paid voice actor for a new upcoming Star Wars game. Oh god.
The exposure though, the exposure.
Oh fuck.
Do we want to move over to Bad Batch then?
Sure.
Any other game name or game news? Just want to throw out a game name?
No, not really.
Okay, well,
yeah.
Thanks. Republic Commando was sitting right there. Yeah, so
I don't fuck with
Bad Batch episode 4. Look, I'm already gonna have people coming after me for my 2 shots at Battlefront 2 today. We don't need to get all the Republic Commando stands in here as well.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, Bad Batch episode 4. We have if you don't want to be spoiled, I'm gonna say what happens at the end of the episode right now. So just leave. But end of the episode, we do have the reunion of Omega with Wrecker and Hunter. So the episode has the story of the shuttle crashing, which was revealed in the trailer.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, when I watched the trailer originally, I noticed the shot. I was like, who is this? Because I saw Batcher jump down the hill and then he kind of disappears behind a leaf. But then Crosshair walks up. So I thought it was like someone that's kind of dog-like that just could be bipedal but also runs down the hill. So I was like, okay, that can't be Crosshair and Omega. But it was.
Shocker. So. It was. Yeah, they really wrapped this shit up pretty quickly. So I guess that's series finale and everyone lived happily ever after.
Clearly. There's definitely no reason we're seeing a bunch of bounty hunters in the trailer.
We do get a hint of why they want to return as well. Where we talked about this last episode or last podcast we did. Omega's not very happy that her boys and few girls are still left on the planet or left in prison.
Crosshair's still feeling like, okay, we're out. So what do you care about them for?
Fuck you, I got mine.
Yeah, Omega's slowly winning him over though. He was okay with getting Batcher back. He almost left.
This episode kind of made me feel like I wouldn't have minded a couple more with the two of them.
Yeah, I think we'll still get enough of a dynamic with the two of them, especially since I was expecting Wrecker and Hunter to be a bit more open with Crosshair, especially after he helped her get back. But it seems like we're about to brawl out on the moon, so that could be fun.
I don't think they're gonna brawl out. I think they'll be okay.
Yeah, that's kind of sad. But
they'll be okay until Crosshair sacrifices himself for the crew.
I really hope not. Like, can we not do that?
We only got one season left, baby. We got to make some waves. Oh, that was the other thing. Speaking of waves, there was a posting today from Lucasfilm Animation about how they're hiring for their next project.
Oh, neat.
Yeah. So, shocker. And I honestly think, I hope. Sorry, this is a big tangent, but I meant to mention this earlier. I hope that if Star Wars does return to movies, that obviously they continue the animated shows, because I think there will always be an audience, room, and budget for animated shows. Yeah. But I do hope they still have at least one, maybe more episodes, one live action TV show on the go. But
yeah, like one live action TV show per year and one animated TV show per year would still be great. Good.
Yeah.
Like we don't need 3 or 4 of each.
And one video game every 6 years, perfect.
Wasn't the plan they announced like, oh, we're gonna have a big major title every year, and that's also going to be followed up by a smaller game, and then we're gonna have 2 games per year? And no, that's not happening.
No. Nope, nothing. But yeah, so I enjoyed this episode. Again, the show continues to look beautiful. Lots of aliens, lots of
A nice
nice
episode 9 callback with the Rathar.
a nice bit of smoke or what's it called? Frozen breath on the characters. Lots of little
Yeah.
idle animations from Batcher. Nice ship designs. Overall, very very visually impressive episode.
Mhm.
The thing I'm gonna miss most about the show maybe is like the different vistas. It is funny because like they obviously spend so much time on the environments, and they've got like 6 alien models that they use for every background character ever.
Yeah. It's gonna be so much harder when they can't just use the same base mesh for all the main characters too.
Yeah, it is funny because like we're so many years after or out of the Clone Wars, and the characters still move like Barbie dolls.
I kind of like the style of that though. I think it
Yeah, I do
works
too.
where it's just a hair beyond or before claymation, but
Mhm.
like the hand painted style is really good.
No,
Like
I agree.
I'm happy to keep getting this as the art style for the
Oh
animated
yeah,
series.
yeah. It offers a nice little bit of continuity as well.
Yeah, and yeah. So even if we don't like the next story, then at least we'll have a good looking show because like Clone Wars season 10 was great. Tales of the Jedi looked good.
Mhm.
But we've tried to speculate in the past on where we think the next show could be, but maybe we'll get an announcement sooner than later after Bad Batch ends.
I kind of wonder whether it will be kind of evident after this season.
Yeah,
It might.
yeah. I mean, well, speaking of this season, we get so they crash land on the planet, and then uh, Crosshair is like immediately thinking, what we should do is kill all of these people.
Which I respect.
Yeah, he he's very open about his opinions, which is
Yeah,
great.
yeah.
Like,
He trusts himself. He's a strong, confident man, and yeah,
but
he's
he is willing to go through with Omega's plan, which, to be fair, at the start, kind of sucked. What number could the guy have said was an acceptable bribe to get on the ship that wouldn't have been obscene to them, considering they had literally no money?
yeah, like maybe sneak on the ship or steal a ship or I don't know, but steal an Imperial ship. There's lots of Imperials around.
Well,
Um,
Crosshair does set up like a good reason to not steal the Imperial ships, at least at the end. I guess that's not
yeah,
really set up.
that's true.
They'll know where this is. They have their GPS on.
They did get some. We got another fat Star Wars character, which
Yeah.
we had Jabba, the guy who owned the Rancor, that
Is
alien
Unkar Plutt
dancer.
count?
Yeah, Unkar Plutt count, that alien dancer who's got like 6 titties.
Dex?
Dex. So yeah, it gives all the large lads another cosplay option, which is great.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we're with a lot of
501st
them,
is
we
about to
are
have a lot of that guy.
just needed to see his feet more.
Yeah, true.
The thing I like about well, I guess first they have done a good job throughout the Bad Batch of showing like how all these different Imperial positions are just using the power that they're building for their own benefit.
Yeah.
Like with Palpatine talking about how like he's securing the future for the Empire, and by that he means like find me a nice clone to put my blood in.
Yeah.
But the other thing that I really like about Star Wars is how little idea you can ever have of how much money is worth.
Yeah, I
Like the
know.
only time we hear about prices is when it's a ridiculous ripoff, like of someone getting a ride on a ship.
Yeah. Like I know this is bad. Like how bad is it? Like $10,000 bad? Is it like $100,000 bad? Is it $1,000 bad? Who
It's like
knows?
Lucas saying that they could get their own ship for that price when Han gives the price for
Yeah.
getting to Alderaan. But like, is there inflation between the Bad Batch and that point? Because that's like 20 years. So,
Yeah.
or not quite, but close.
Yeah.
So, is this like 1990s dollars at this point?
Also, like, what game were they playing?
What's the fuck? There's some show where they just like make up the rules every time. It might be in Always Sunny. It's something ball.
It's like it wasn't Sabak and it wasn't
No.
Pazak. So yeah, I don't know what it was, but it was funky.
Soon it'll be an available option. So someone made Pizak and Empire at War at one point. We just play on the build bar. So maybe we'll get that at some point too.
I don't think I'd ever be desperate enough to do anything that I'd want to play another game inside the Empire at War build bar. I could be like on a desert island and they'd be like, we've got no entertainment, but we've got Empire at War loaded with just the build bar. You can play with that. I'm like, nah, I'm probably good.
Is that much worse than playing just Pizak and KOTOR though?
Well, the thing about Pazak is it's like completely like it's inherently unfair to it's unfair to the non-dealer player, right? If I remember correctly. Like
it's just blackjack.
It's always
so.
Yeah. But isn't it
It's
it
slightly
like
different, but it's
because you're not playing against a dealer
and minuses.
Yeah.
Playing against each other and
Yeah. It's not a well balanced game, but yeah. I'd like to get a collection of Star Wars games, like card games out there. That'd be fun.
Like, I'd feel sorry for anyone trying to develop it because, like, clearly in the episode they're just trying to like, what are two ridiculous things that could happen that have no context? Like, oh, he's got the and then the rainbow sweep comes in.
Yeah,
and
she had like the three sons or something.
Yeah, so like you as a game designer are now tasked with turning that nonsense into something that's actually playable and fun. But
yeah,
I mean the Jedi Survivor minigame. Did you play that? The tabletop thing?
Oh yeah, like the auto chess thing.
Yeah, I'd play that.
Was fun. Yeah, that was really cool.
Omega shark people in that. That'd be cool.
Yeah, that could show her like skills as well.
Yeah, and like this is a thing where we got set up a whole season ago that Omega was going to do this to someone, and now it's paying off.
Yep.
And yet I was still getting comments on clips about this episode that it was filler, which I don't understand because she literally gets back to the Bad Batch in this.
Yeah, it's like a lot happened that I thought was going to be spread over like 3 episodes.
You get to the end of Return of the Jedi, Palpatine falls, and this is filler.
That battle was filler because it happened before something else big, so it's filler.
Yeah. You can just apply that term to anything.
To be fair, I do think you could call like the first third of Return of the Jedi filler, but
well, it's necessary character development. Like, how else are you going to know what's going on with the Rancor trainer?
That's true.
And okay, so I did go back and watch the scene where they're going into Jabba's palace.
Okay.
And I don't know. It made me go more on the choke angle. I don't know.
That's fine.
Might have to abandon you on this one. I'm not sure.
It's fine. You're allowed to have the wrong opinion. Did you know the Rancor trainer actor Paul Brook is still alive?
That's nice for him. Think he's gonna come back? Him and Danny Trejo just hanging out somewhere.
He could. What's the last thing he was in was The Edge of Love as Mr. Judge Singleton.
That does not sound like a recent name in a recent show.
No.
I don't think I want to Google Edge of Love, actually.
It was 2008.
Yeah.
He was in The Royal in 2009. Good for him. He's got a son who's in the business as well. Oh, his son's really weird looking.
That's nice.
He played Lothar Frey in season 3 of Game of Thrones, Fior in Preacher, Bill Wiggins in Sherlock.
The son or the Rancor trainer guy?
The Rancor trainer's son.
Okay. I wonder who the youngest original trilogy actor that's still alive is.
Fiona Glass. He's married to Fiona Glascott. The son is who played a young Minerva McGonagall in the Fantastic Beasts franchise. Okay.
I can see that.
It all comes back to Star Wars.
Yeah.
Wow.
Fantastic Beasts were not good movies.
I didn't watch them. I don't support transphobes.
Yeah. You made the right choice.
Yeah. Especially when the movie's
transphobes who make bad movies. Yeah.
Like, it's not like I was missing out on fucking like The Godfather Part 2 here. Fuck's sakes. What a loser.
Yeah, so Omega gets all the credits from the Imperial Governor guy. He seems like he's gonna let him get away with it, but then there's There's the fine which you pay in person at that moment to the captain who pinches you, which
Yeah,
that's how I've always understood the legal process
this
to
was
work.
the anti-socialism episode because you know what that fine money went towards? It was clearly the state, which was going to house all of the beasts and in living residents of the planet. So,
Yeah.
more pro-capitalism messaging from Star Wars.
Is that just like a doggy daycare that they're running there? Like, why are all these critters here?
It's a critter daycare. It is. It's a menagerie.
Was that a licensed Rathtar then?
There was a pork as well. Did you hear the pork?
I did not.
It was like a pork sound effect when one of the boxes got. It was like the.
I'm sure
Sound
they were
exactly
delicious
like
right
that.
after. No, you nailed it. You nailed it.
Yeah.
You're the out of work Star Wars voice actor that we're.
Yeah, I was gonna be a big porg in the upcoming game, but unfortunately,
There has to be
Andrew.
a rapper in Star Wars called Big Borg.
Yeah, unfortunately, oh, fuck was his name? Andrew Wilson needed another fucking yacht. So
It's too bad. So
Andrew,
Omega,
Andrew Wilson needed another porg fursuit, and they're expensive, I guess. So
a Star Wars version of the Simpsons episode where Mr. Burns turns the Dalmatian or turns the Greyhound into clothing.
yes, exactly.
Tales of the Jedi season 3, make it happen, Filoni.
Yeah.
But on the way out, Batcher has to get out of the bar. And I thought Crosshair was gonna go and wait with Batcher outside where he could like see in and
That'd be
look at
cute. Like
Batcher.
there could have had like a scene like in episode 5 where R2's like looking in the window at Yoda's hut.
Yeah. But irresponsible dog ownership is what this is, really. The kid doesn't stop it. Omega's busy. I mean, the kid that was standing outside.
Yeah.
But this does set up Crosshair to make the choice of whether he's going to take the money and just go on the ship, which he seems to consider, which is not great babysitting. Hunter's not going to be happy about that.
You can sit there for like 30 seconds.
That's a long time.
Different times where like I drop my kid off at IKEA to play, and I'm like, a lot of freedom right now.
Still got 2 left.
Yeah, exactly.
You basically got a spare now.
Yeah.
But he does make the right choice. He follows them, or he follows Omega, and they do retrieve Batcher. And Omega lets Crosshair do his thing too. And I think that's important because like Hunter needs to accept that Omega doesn't always need to be protected by him. She has her own agency, but the rest of the Bad Batch can still be good at stuff. And Crosshair's feeling down about his tremor, and he gets to murk some scrubs, as he says later.
Yeah, it's crazy that they learned that lingo on Camino.
Hunter, I wanted to murk some scrubs.
They had 3 hours of Halo 3 lobbies every day for the first 10 years of life. That's why they're so fucked up.
They go over the key mechanics of teabagging.
You gotta the speed is important. You don't want to go down too quickly. You want to hold it, but just for a second. If you get it right, the body will bounce. It's perfect.
Yeah. You need to really nail that root bone connecting with somewhere in the neck to pull the enemy body back up. It's crucial.
You don't want to hurt your knees either, so be careful.
That was the important part of the Camino training. That's really what they're trying to recreate on Mount Tantus.
Can you imagine how demoralizing it would be to see this? Maybe you're like one of the separatist, like organic fighters who are like conscripted. You just see like a clone commando destroy like this 500,000 credit super battle droid, then just drop his armored testicles on its head. Like, can you imagine how demoralizing that would be?
Just the scene last season where there's like the standoff with the governor and Crosshair shoots her. He just runs into the room afterwards, starts teabagging, and his mic peaks in the helmet.
I had to do it. Oh, my brothers.
I see you followed your training well. This is what the Empire is all about.
That actually would be epic.
Yeah, but then even more weirdos on the internet would be like, the edgelords would be like, oh yes, the Empire truly are the good guys.
That's true.
But we get the reunion. So they steal the ship. Crosshair points out that this ship is not going to be a great option for them to hold on to because it's going to be trackable. But
Mhm.
Omega has them covered. They're meeting
She
in an
called the
unknown
boys.
location.
Yeah.
I don't know how much value that really adds unless they're going to be waiting there a while for each other. Like, who knows how long Wrecker and Hunter were there. But, like, if you're going to be ditching the ship anyways, then, I don't know, just go get lunch on Coruscant and say we're going to meet you
Yeah.
at Texas.
Yeah. Go somewhere nice.
Yeah.
Grab some drinks with the boys.
Was Hunter crying before he walked out? Like, is that why Wrecker was outside and Hunter had to, like, steel himself? Is he not willing to let those emotions show right now?
Hunter, unfortunately, is a product of toxic masculinity. He's unwilling to show his emotions. So I think he probably wasn't even actually crying, but he was close. He did have to steel himself, but I don't think a tear actually left his
Not
eyes.
even one?
No, not even one.
Damn.
Yeah.
Well, any predictions for next episode now that the gang's all back together?
I'm guessing they're going to try to meet the rest of the gang, right?
Meet up with Echo?
Yeah.
I think that, like, the Juggernaut heist is going to be pretty
Hmm.
soon, unless that's more of a climate. I don't know.
So are they going to do like a few helpful missions now? Because like there's always been something driving things, right? Whether it was, oh, we're doing these jobs to earn money, or
Yeah.
yeah. So I don't know what's next.
Yeah, like, they're probably okay on cash at this point because, like, they've got the Fees Island, I forget what it's called, that they're kind of, I assume, still able to check in on because, like, we know they're still connecting with Fee. Not in the way that Tech would have.
Yeah.
But
Maybe they're gonna go back and check on those kids.
yeah, I don't know. I think they're done with them.
Okay.
Just send them off. They're getting taken care of. You don't need
Okay.
to see them again.
Okay.
Maybe we'll get an Echo episode
That'd be fun.
because we did get
Or a
one.
Camino or a cloning episode, maybe. Another cloning episode.
Oh, just a full Emery Carr episode and
Yeah.
Nala say.
Yeah.
It's something that Bad Batch hasn't really done a lot of is, like, have episodes that go between an A and B plot. They did with
Mhm.
Echo and Crosshair last season, I think. That was the one Echo episode, and he had to share the
Honestly,
glory.
none of the animated shows have really done that very much. Like
Yeah.
Clone Wars was probably the closest, but like Rebels had a few. Well, actually, not even really a few. The only one that I can think of is the when what's his name was turning on the Empire, but even that was
Alex,
interspersed with
yeah.
Rebel stuff. Yeah, but even
Yeah.
that, like when he was on the Ice Moon. So
Like, at most, you'd go back and forth between groups of characters that are 20 feet away from each other, having different conversations about the same thing.
sometimes what they'll do is like have they'll have the characters involved, but it'll be a real B plot,
Mhm.
like they're they gotta water their plants today. It's a big deal.
They go back to Hemlock's old lab and have to water the slithering vines.
Yeah.
The Drengir.
The slithering vines, they didn't ask to be brought into this world as weird vine monsters, so like why punish them?
Yeah, they're clones too.
Yeah.
Just gonna have that little ship full of.
Those are brothers in the soil. We gotta dig them out of there.
They also have Jango Fett's DNA somehow.
It's toenail DNA only.
So, do you think that Omega ends up going back into Mount Tantus alone? Like, is she ever separated from the Bad Batch again? Just in general?
I feel like I don't know. I'm kind of of two minds. At one point, I would have said definitely not. Her being found and returned to the Bad Batch so early gives it a possibility, but I don't think they want to. Like that was the main conflict going into the season. Do they really want to
Yeah.
just do a reset when it's the last season? I don't think so.
Well, what if they kind of, because, like, part of it is showing that Omega's got shit covered. Like,
Mhm.
that's the thing with Hunter. So, what if they kind of go deeper on that, where maybe that's how Ventress comes in or something, where there's clearly going to be these bounty hunters after them, but now they're friends with all the bounty hunters who aren't Cad Bane.
Yeah.
So, could it be a thing where they, like, set up an insertion where they're having the bounty hunter bring Omega
I like that
to
idea.
the Empire, and they have to trust that she can be okay on her own for a while. And then the Bad Batch comes in, you have Ventress working with them, like, crazy theory, but just throwing it out.
I think it's a really good theory, actually. I like that. I could definitely see it going down like that.
Because I don't think it'll be a thing where like she just gets captured again. I think that would be a bit.
No, yeah, but her, yeah, that's a good one. Her going back in, maybe even maybe somebody going with her, but her going back in with a bounty hunter like Ventress, I think makes a lot of sense. So yeah, good call on that.
I think Crosshair's a little made now. I don't think he's going to be able to escort her back in.
No, I don't think so.
Like she clearly wants to rescue the other clones. Nalisay's there as well. We know Nalisay's in a little jail cell. So we're getting a little bit of no, but it could be a little bit of redemption for the war profiteers.
Yeah, like they've done 10 trillion bad things and one thing that's like kind of epic.
It's really just because she wanted to protect her research in Omega.
Yeah.
It's still better than turning into gloves like Kosai.
Yeah, it is better than that.
But I mean, you start next episode, Nalisay's gone, and Hemlock has a nice silver glove on.
Well, he already has one glove. Yeah.
Yeah.
Got that one glove. I said he's because he's got a glove fetish like the Halifax glove guy, but
I don't know if they're going to cover that in the plot.
See if the glove guy wants to come in for a pod.
Is he just an episode to talk about all the gloves in Star Wars, like Luke's glove, Vader's glove, Hemlock's glove?
Yeah, like which one do you think made the best sound? Like which one fit
which
the
one
best?
slaps the best going on?
Which one would you make young men that you pick up on Gottingen Street at 2 a.m. try on first? You know, lots of stuff.
All valid questions.
Yeah.
All right. Any last thoughts for the Bad Batch season 3, episode 4?
I think that's it. So next week we are doing just this, right?
Yes. So we're going to be doing the Wednesday Bad Batch episodes insofar as we can, we should be able to every time.
Yeah.
But when do you want to try to work in Destiny's Way?
I can't figure that out tonight.
Well, do you mean like, I just mean like not specific timing, but do you think we'd be able to do that in the next 2 weeks?
Yes.
All right. So we'll figure that out.
I'm going to message Victor Lucas as well, see if he wants to do a Star Wars video game episode.
That'd be fun.
Yeah.
All right. So thanks for listening, everyone. Congratulations once again, Justin, on reaching 1 million subscribers on YouTube.
Thank you.
And make sure to put the plaque somewhere nice and shiny.
I did take all the plaques out of my office. They're in my laundry room right now because I was showing the house.
Yeah, I don't want people to figure out it's you.
Yeah. Well, I just
have hockey videos playing the whole time while people.
They say to remove every they're like, yeah, make sure you remove every image that has something related to your family in it. Like, is that really a deterrent? Like, am my family ugly? Like, what's going on?
I'm taking this house from this family.
Yeah, exactly. I'm gonna put these kids on the fucking street.
We'll have to ask on our real estate podcast. Get both of our real estate agents on and let them explain the whole process.
Sounds good.
Thanks for listening, everyone. We'll see you next week for more Bad Batch. There's no X2 stream tonight. It's just this.
Tomorrow.
Yep. For most of us. And I might be home later on. You never know.
Well, I don't understand. What are you actually doing tomorrow if you're not?
So we're getting the keys tomorrow. Then we're taking some of our shit on our own to the house. We're figuring out what we need, going to some stores to buy that. Then we're still gonna be sleeping here. So I'll be home at some point. And I'll probably FaceTime in when you guys are, or Discord video call on my phone in when you guys are playing. So I'll try to show up.
All right. Okay.
I just probably can't play Halo.
That's fair.
All right. Well, thanks for listening, everyone. See you next time. And remember, only wear acceptable glove sizes for society. Oh. No.
The same movement as inseminating a wild beast. Well, probably not a wild beast, but an owned beast. Because I don't think you get any benefit.